Hi, good day everyone. My name is Sarajin Senini from Bachelor of Elementary Education, Section 1B. Today I will share to you each lesson of the contemporary world. What did I learn and how will I apply it into myself? Lesson 1, Introduction to the Globalization. This lesson introduces to us the concept of variation, definition of globalization as a process, conditions, and ideology. It also exposes the learners of the academic and unbiased definition and communication experts. We already are citizens of the world. We run about our life with all the aspects of the contemporary world in our system. This course will be the best to find in other words, my friend, you are affected by the global economic imperialism. Clear enough, we have to find westernized or Americanized or Koreanized. By and by, you have become unfamiliar with our Filipino products. Surely globalization is a phenomenon. Globalization may be defined a conceptual from different lenses, but an interdisciplinary definition is necessary. Some scholars considered as it a process or condition or an ideology. Experts from different fields or social science also define globalization based on the specialization or expertise. But a working definition has to encompass all definition or and none about globalization. Lesson 2, Structures of Globalization. The structures of globalization is that we all know everything comes from the different structures. Process when is something is inevitable, there should be structures on it. Therefore, when we discuss globalization, we are trying to discuss the structures of globalization. In understanding the structures of globalization, it is divided into three: social, political, and economic globalization. We can assume that globalization is a mutual sharing of goods, service, and capital between among the states. It is also gradually making states closer integrated. There are different theories about the concept of globalization. Some of the views that is in concept was properly started with the establishment of WTO in 1992. Whatever the reality is, it is true that the pace of globalization was accelerated with global trading organization. This organization was to end border and fasten the trade between the states. WB or the World Bank is also came into battle of evolution of globalization. There is difference of opinion among people beginning of concept, but nobody can deny its importance in the contemporary world. From the onward, we will examine how trade, growth, and poverty are interlinked, and how the best of benefits of globalization acquired to ameliorate trait of humanity. Therefore, the solution to such problem would then turn away the backlash against globalization. Lesson 3, A World of Region Global Divide. The North and the South within countries, inequality has been rising, and some countries has been more equal than others. Commentators now speak to a global North and global South, referring to a richer and a poorer communities, respectively, which can be found both inside and outside of the country. While in India boasts of the world's highest number of disadvantaged of the people is a single country. It is also a sizable middle class and a wealth, wealthy delight. Natural resources, availability, different levels of health and education. The natural of the country, economy and industrial sectors. international trading policies, and access to markets. How countries are government and international relationship between countries, conflict within the countries, between countries, and a country vulnerable to natural hazard and climate change are just a few of the factors to contribute inequalities. Asian regionalism is also the product of economic interaction, not political planning. As a result of successful outward-oriented growth stages, Asian economics have grown not only richer but closer together. In recent years, new technology trends have further strengthened ties among them, as have a rise of the PRC, the region growing weight in the global economy. Lesson 4: A World of Ideas. Global media cultures investigate an interplay of media, culture, and globalization. The course examines and critiques the power of media representation in the context of previous and current international communication difficulties. The medias have a significant importance of cultural globalization in two ways that are mutually independent. First, they facilitate the widespread transitional transmission of cultural products, and second, they aid in the establishment of the communication networks of the social structures. The globalization of religion. Globalization is the historical process by which people of the planet are gradually coming to live in a single social unit. It also involves religions and a variety of ways. Globalization necessitates religious response and interpretation from a religious or theological standpoint. Religion and faith, on the other hand, have played a major part of bringing about defining globalization. Globalization increases religion heterogeneity, which is one of the implications of the issues of religion, because porous and international relationship religion identification themselves in relation to one another, and they become less entrenched in specific regions. Lesson 5: Global Population and Mobility. A global city is a city that serves as a primary node in the worldwide economic network. It is also known as a power city, world city, alpha city, or world center. The idea that globalization is developed and advanced in strategic geographic places according to hierarchy of importance to the operation of global system of finance and trades derived from geographic and urban studies. Global demography is a specific studies of human population, especially in terms of size, structures, and development. It is considered as quantitative aspect of their general features. Demographic changes have one impact on the economics underlying growth rate, structural productive growth, living standards, saving rates, consumption, and investment. It is also have an impact on the long run. Unemployment rate and equilibriums, interest rate, housing market trends, and financial asset demand. Global migration is a protected human right to move and from one location to her. Humans have always migrated from one location to another. The freedom to migrate, it is also that it has been designated as a protective human right. When a person freely chooses to relocate to another location. This is known as immigration. Lesson 6: Towards a Sustainable World, Sustainable Development. It is defined as development that meets current needs without jeopardizing future generation ability to meet their own. The longer we pursue unsustainable development, the more frequent and severe its consequences will become, which is why we must act now. Global food security, according to UN communities on the world food security means that all the people have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that fits their own preferences and dietary needs for the for an active and healthy life at all times. The generalization of these lessons I mentioned, globalization is a system of interaction among the countries of the world in order to develop the global economy. It refers to the integration of economies and societies all over the world. Globalization involves technological, economic, political, and cultural exchanges made possible largely by advances in communication, transportation, and infrastructure. There are many advantages of globalization, such as increased free trading among nations, increased liquidity of capital allowing investors in developed nations to invest in developing nations, reduces cultural barriers, and reduces the livelihood of wars among nations. It really helps for the people who work abroad in many different ways. However, globalization can also be disadvantageous, as might as affect the nations to lose its own culture and just be like of any other nations. But even then, it has managed to retain the originality of its culture, which most of the countries are not capable of these days, even though globalization can affect in both positive and negative ways. But it is important for every nation to progress economically and socially. That would be all. Thank you for listening.